She ain't never told me the truth about that night. Not once. That's the precise moment JimJones snapped live, unfiltered, eyes crimson, voice breaking, while millions watched on stream. This ain't no love and hip-hop. Moment, this is real-life treachery, and it just burst in front of the entire internet. So what actually went on between Chrissy Lampkin and Camron? And why is JimJones suddenly now bringing up that night after years of silence? Since according to JimJones, the betrayal wasn't just romantic. It was personal, political, and maybe intentional. Here's where it gets messy. Jim's own son is supposedly backing the account, claiming he overheard murmurs about Chrissy Lampkin and Camron when he was kid. What sort of adult lady problem gets that deep? And get this, minutes after Jim's podcast meltdown went viral. An anonymous voicemail leaked, and if you listen attentively, the voice sounds a lot like Camron. This isn't just drama. It's a full-blown scandal with receipts, betrayal, and a body count of shattered trust. And believe me, this is only the beginning. Went down in the world of hip-hop drama. And no, this isn't some recycled fight or old rumor you've heard 100 times. This is new, nasty, and nearly combustible. The type of controversy that brings in decades-old secrets, shattered relationships that makes even the most casual followers pause and wonder, wait, what? It all started when JimJones, yes, the Jim Jones, lost it, like truly lost it during a live podcast, not some edited YouTube clip, but raw, unvarnished live to thousands of fans who were coming in for the normal chit-chat, not this full-blown tantrum. She betrayed me after that night with Camron, and I can't forgive her, JimJones cried, his voice shaking. If you thought Chrissy Lampkin and Camron's supposed past was just some tabloid gossip, think again. According to JimJones, this night was a turning moment, and it wasn't just about a cheating scandal, but understanding why. JimJones is so angry you have to rewind the film a few years ago. Chrissy Lampkin, noted for her feisty attitude on love and hip-hop, has always been no stranger to controversy. But add Camron, the iconic Harlem rapper with a background as vivid as his pink polo shirts, into the mix. It's a recipe for catastrophe. Rumors have floated for years that Chrissy Lampkin and Camron had something going on behind closed doors, a secret they managed to keep under wraps despite continual limelight. But fans and insiders long puzzled why JimJones never officially addressed it until now. And it's not just any denial that's missing, according to sources close to the Dipset group. JimJones was quiet because of the betrayal went deeper than anybody expected, including family business transactions and even Camron's tight circle. Here's the kicker. Jim's own kid suddenly featured in the controversy according to an anonymous information we got. JimJones apparently overheard talks about that night years ago. According to the Sun's account, Chrissy's romance with Camron was part of a larger betrayal that shattered their entire family. According to sources, Jim's son confronted Chrissy Lampkin privately, demanding explanations. Her attitude was quiet, chilly, and avoidant, the type of silence that indicates, you know exactly what you did. As if the tale wasn't enough explosive, a strange voicemail surfaced online shortly after Jim's podcast breakdown. The voice on the audio is unknown, but it sounds eerily like Camron, cool, collected, and cryptic. The message hinted at secrets being hidden and promises violated. It finished with a terrifying line. Certain things were never meant to be public, but the truth always finds a way. Naturally, this voicemail was forwarded viral. Fans of Dipset began selecting sides, with some praising Jim's sadness and rage, and others asking whether Chrissy Lampkin was being unfairly pulled into a struggle between two hip-hop titans practically. JimJones vs. Chrissy Lampkin, Camron night and betrayal leaks were trending globally, and memes, response videos, and conspiracy theories inundated feeds. Fan speculations varied from Chrissy Lampkin was a mastermind to JimJones is losing his mind to the craziest accusations about secret agreements and dark backroom politics. It was the type of viral mayhem that only a real hip-hop controversy can provide. And don't believe Chrissy Lampkin hasn't openly addressed the claims. But her social media activity has altered overnight. Her postings have gone from gorgeous selfies to cryptic words about truth and loyalty, only feeding more conjecture. Many asked why JimJones waited so long to bring this up. Why now? Well, sources claim it wasn't a spontaneous outburst. The podcast was intended to be a mellow talk about music and life, but JimJones had been holding back for years of anger. Sources close to JimJones claim he found out Chrissy Lampkin was involved in some new dubious activity with Camron. Facts yet unknown. That seemed like the last straw. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was strategic, and like a stab to the back. This controversy threatens to rip apart not just friendships, but whole lineages. Deepit has always been about loyalty and family, and seeing one of their own erupt on a public platform is. This adds another element of drama that blurs the borders between reality and scripted entertainment. But for those paying close attention, Jim's public outburst feels more genuine than ever. Chrissy's silence is deafening. Camron's cryptic message further compounds the mystery, and Jim's son stepping forward adds a whole new twist to what happened that night. Secrets are still hidden, and who will survive this nasty public betrayal? But this is only the beginning. If you thought the live podcast breakdown was crazy, just wait till you hear the leaked chats fresh. Allegations and unexpected alliances that started to surface shortly after JimJones blew up on that live broadcast. Things didn't just simmer down, but erupted when the dust cleared on what started as a personal. This quickly developed into a full-fledged inquiry by fans, insiders, and even some unofficial sources who supposedly had front-row seats to the drama. So here's what we found up. And believe me, you'll want to strap up. Because this becomes crazy than a reality TV reunion episode on steroids. Late-night party loaded with industry giants, crazy cocktails, and a whole lot of backstage whispering. One source characterized it as a powder keg of tension when Chrissy Lampkin was spotted laughing a bit too closely with Camron. People whispered, "Something's definitely off here," and it wasn't just the usual hip-hop glitz. There were stories of secret meetings behind closed doors, phone conversations that ended suddenly, and entered the room and text messages that disappeared before anybody could capture them. Sources believe these communications weren't simply amorous. They hinted at financial transactions that might shake up the Deepet empire. Chrissy Lampkin reportedly played a greater role behind the scenes than anybody imagined, maintaining ties that may match some of the greatest names in the business. Remember, this isn't just about personal betrayal, but about power control and who truly wields the cards in this convoluted game of fame and riches as the tale progressed. Another layer emerged: money. Yup, the green stuff. There are reports floating that Chrissy Lampkin has been delving into certain income sources that JimJones felt were forbidden bounds. Think costly shopping sprees, secret bank accounts, and even suspected abuse of assets tied to joint ventures. One source close to JimJones claimed he thought they were partners in everything. But apparently Chrissy Lampkin has been playing a different game, and that's what truly stings public emotions. As predicted, social media exploded with fans studying. Every footage, every Instagram post, every cryptic tweet from both sides. One tweet: "Jim's heartbreak is real, but how much of this is smoke and mirrors? Shared dips at drama." Another reader added in, "Chrissy's silence speaks volumes. What's she hiding?" Of course, memes began to fly, with some gleefully ridiculing Jim's emotional reaction and others depicting Chrissy Lampkin as the puppet, master pulling strings in the background. But it wasn't just fans. Responding industry insiders and former partners began chiming in, offering cryptic suggestions about unfinished business and loyalties challenged. Even a few well-known figures close to Dipset privately voiced surprise at Jim's public airing of dirty laundry. The bigger issue, everyone's wondering what's next. How far will this fallout go? Well, the rumor mill hasn't stopped spinning. Murmurs about prospective legal fights have started swirling around. Some claim Jim's team is interviewing attorneys to look into any breaches of contract and business fraud relating to Chrissy's alleged side ventures. Others worry that federal authorities may even get involved given the high-profile nature. Jim's son, who is now publicly involved in the drama, has apparently been threatened by unknown people, threatening him to keep quiet. That's right. Threats, real ones. This story isn't just making noise online, it's affecting real-life nerves. Meanwhile, Chrissy's crew has remained fairly tight-lipped, but dropped a few carefully worded posts on social media. Nothing directly addressing the charges, but enough to stir the fire, such as, "Truth has a funny way of coming out and loyalty is earned, not given." This cryptic message further encourages suspicion that she's setting up for a larger surprise, potentially a tell-all interview or a social media blitz to dominate the narrative. It's like watching a chess game where every step planned and no piece is secure. And speaking of pieces, we can't forget Camron's part in all of this. His strange voicemail hinted at things. Never meant to be public, but what more is he hiding, according to some sources? Has been quietly negotiating new business agreements, distancing himself from the mayhem while watching the drama play from the outside. Some allege he's serving as a mediator behind the scenes, attempting to preserve peace between JimJones and Chrissy Lampkin, but obviously with minimal success. One source even indicated Camron could be keeping back some bombshell information of his own, something that could either exonerate Chrissy Lampkin or drag the entire group. Further into controversy, the layers simply keep building on emotional scars, financial intrigue, familial treachery, and business strife, all knotted together in a complicated web. And just when you think you've heard it all, fresh stories spring out, such as the claim that a secret recording of a furious encounter between JimJones and Chrissy Lampkin would escape soon. A tape where accusations fly, voices scream, and truths come tumbling down. What's on that recording, no one knows for sure, but if it ever sees the light of day, it might alter everything. Meanwhile, fans and critics are divided. Some rally around JimJones, calling him the mistreated king, finally speaking up, while others praise Chrissy's bravery to remain silent and powerful. Among pandemonium, and the others are just sitting back, popcorn in hand, waiting to watch how this tale unfolds. But one thing is clear: this issue isn't going away anytime soon. The harm to reputations has already been done, and the repercussions will. So what does this mean for the future of Dipset, for the careers and relationships that have defined an era? Hold on tight, because part 3 is where we go into the consequences, legal threats, and family turmoil. You thought this was simply about jealousy and betrayal? Think again. This is power, legacy, and survival all wrapped together in one explosive drama. Stay tuned, because the truth is far from done. Now that we've peeled back the layers of treachery, sleazy bargains, and whispered threats, it's time to face the music and the aftermath. Because when JimJones blew on that podcast, Chrissy Lampkin of betrayal after the notorious Camron night, he wasn't just venting, he was setting off a chain reaction that's shaking up the whole hip-hop community. First off, the legal storm is building darker than anybody thought. Sources. According to sources close to Jim's legal team, they are preparing to bring various cases for breach of contract, embezzlement, and possibly defamation. Jim's camp believes Chrissy's side maneuvers and secret dealings were not simply personal betrayals. They were plain business sabotage. Think that folks, your own partner working behind your back to damage your enterprise. The drama writes itself. Meantime, Chrissy's answer radio quiet. Virtually, her attorneys have apparently written stop and desist letters to many media sites who began probing too far. It's a typical power move, but it further fuels the accusations that she has something big to conceal, and the public is eating it up. Social media is a war zone, with fans selecting sides like it's a gory Game of Thrones meme, heated discussions, and conspiracy theories fly every minute, and one popular hashtag divides people, tweeting this like a family quarrel that's ripping the whole crew apart. But the most tragic impact could be closer to home. Jim's son, who has already been pulled into the issue, is allegedly considering moving away from the spotlight. Insiders claim the strain has been intense, with threats, intimidation, and the weight of family betrayal striking more than any diss track ever could. And don't expect this remains hidden. Gatherings have grown cold, with JimJones and Chrissy Lampkin scarcely communicating. Friends close to the family say it's like witnessing a slow-motion train accident, devastating and impossible to look away from. Industry insiders warned. The Dipset's brand might suffer a big impact. Sponsors and collaborators are allegedly rethinking relationships. Nobody wants to be caught in the middle of this enormous story. And some musicians are even distancing themselves, openly hinting to hard facts and borders that should not be crossed. But here's where it gets even worse: murmurs of a federal inquiry. That's right, folks. The authorities could be sniffing around financial irregularities, questionable transactions, and suspected money laundering linked to some of Chrissy's claimed side hustles have apparently attracted their notice. If that's true, this controversy may spread much beyond mere hip-hop rumors. Back in Chrissy Lampkin finally broke her silence, kind of. During a recent Instagram Live, she hinted to hidden motives and individuals who seek to pull us apart. She didn't name names, but everyone knows who she meant. Her statements were equal parts defensive and secretive, leaving supporters guessing if she's planning a return or preparing a counterattack. Camron, the wild card, poured gasoline on the fire by sending cryptic messages about loyalty and truths. No one is ready for some predict he would issue a statement soon, or perhaps sit down for a tell-all interview that might shake up the narrative. Even more, and what about Jim? The man at the center of the storm has been laying low, focused on new music and infrequent social media messages that hint at anguish, betrayal, but also perseverance. One recent tweet read, "Sometimes the hardest battles are the ones you fight in silence." So, where does this leave Dipset's legacy? 4 years? They were idols and legends of the game. But now their tale is twisted in controversy, treachery, and probable legal fights, leaving fans wondering whether this is just the beginning of the end, or simply a nasty chapter in a lengthy narrative. Here's the kicker. While the drama develops, new artists and competing groups are watching intently. Some view this as a chance to take the spotlight. The streets are humming with conjecture about who will rise from the ashes and who will be left behind. And let's not overlook the greater picture. This controversy isn't just about Jim, Chrissy Lampkin, or Camron. It's a mirror, reflecting the intricate, often muddy mix of fame, power, and personal relationships in the music business. It's about trust, betrayal, and what happens when the limelight gets too hot to handle. So what's next for JimJones? Chrissy Lampkin find a way to heal bridges? Or is this the ultimate curtain call for one of hip-hop's most talked about couples? Will legal fights break the team apart for good, and what startling secrets may still be lurking? Behind closed doors, only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This narrative is far from ended, and you should remain tuned because the next chapter might alter. Before you go, I'd like to hear from you. What do you think of Jim's bombshell accusations? Do you feel Chrissy Lampkin is innocent? Or is she playing a master game behind the scenes? Who do you think has the true power in this tale? JimJones, Chrissy Lampkin, or Camron? Express your opinions in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're hooked on this drama. And make sure to subscribe for more breaking truths and exclusive updates. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you for watching, and remember that in the world of fame and money, the reality is frequently stranger than fiction. Okay, fam. Now that you've heard the terrible truth about Jim, I want to hear about Jones's startling charges and Chrissy Lampkin alleged treachery. What do you think? Is this simply chaotic drama? Is there a deeper game being played? Who is actually tugging the ropes here? Jim, Chrissy Lampkin, or Camron? Share your hottest takes and craziest theories in the comments underneath. Don't hold back. This is the location for all the truth searchers. Drama lovers. Hey, if you're as hooked on this narrative as I am, smashing that like button. Show some love, make sure you hit subscribe and get that notice ring. Because trust me, this story is just heating up and you don't want to miss any. Stay tuned for the single explosive update. Awakened and remember, in the realm of hip hop and Hollywood, the truth is always juicier than the rumors. Catch you in the next video. Oh.